Today we're taking a step away from a different ingredient. We're actually looking at something that's larger, something that's overarching, and something that's a little bit confusing and now becoming more and more of a trend term: umami. Today's sponsor is Gogi, and you can check them out online at their parent site, artisansnacks.com. Gogi manufactures bulgogi flavored beef jerky. Now, bulgogi is a very classic Korean dish, and it's a kind of a sweet beef dish, totally delicious. So they make this awesome artisanal beef jerky. They come in these really great small packs, and everything that they use is really, really high quality. The beef is hand-selected, totally premium, and totally tasty. Check them out online at artisansnacks.com and give their beef jerky a go today. Alright, so today we are talking about umami, and I'm going to blow your mind. Most kids growing up learn that there were four basic tastes: sour, sweet, salty, and bitter. However, there is a new taste, a fifth taste that's on the books called umami, which is all about savoriness. The amino acid that causes the umami flavor is this one called L-glutamate. WTF, right? I know it sounds crazy and fancy and like magic science, but it is the compound that makes things taste brothy or meaty in your mouth. Foods that might contain a lot of umami are things like fish, cured meats, vegetables, especially mushrooms and ripe tomatoes, as well as some fermented products like cheeses and wine. And while all ingredients have some portion of umami, and all cuisines have umami in them, though they might not identify it as umami, Japanese cuisine has probably by far the most umami, and it really has to do with the fact that three major ingredients are used in almost every dish: seaweed of some sort, fish flakes or bonito, which we covered, and soy sauce. Even though umami has technically been around forever and definitely been around since the Roman times, it wasn't until 1908 when a Japanese scientist really looked at this and identified the fact that it's a unique flavor of its own. However, it wasn't until 1985 that the scientific community actually embraced the term umami as the blanketing term to cover the flavor and the sensation that comes from glutamites. Umami's superpowers are that it increases palatability and salivation. It basically just makes food taste more delicious, and it does so without the increase in salt. Now, we can cover umami, and we can cover glutamites without taking the G of MSG and taking a look at everyone's favorite devilish condiment. MSG, or monosodium glutamate, is an additive that's all natural that a lot of people use in cooking that basically simulates or adds more glutamates to whatever dish you're cooking to kind of increase the savoriness and brothiness of the dish that you're making. It's just about the time that glutamates and umami was discovered that people started to figure out how to extract just the glutamates from ingredients and turn them into, a sprinkleable form. The idea is that when you use MSG, it basically ups the ante on anything that you're making. It's like it goes to 11 if this was Spinal Tap.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
So the thing is, the kicker is that even though monosodium glutamate is made from all natural ingredients, it kind of has a bad rap to it. People are kind of, when you mention MSG. This has to do with the fact that a long while ago, people started getting this Chinese restaurant syndrome. You see, at the time, Chinese restaurants were using a huge amount of MSG in their cooking, and some people perceived that it gave them headaches, it gave them intestinal pain, it didn't make them feel very well. So people had a backlash, and Chinese restaurants stopped cooking with MSG. Well, a lot of them did. Interestingly, scientists did a lot of studies on MSG and found out that there's really no conclusive evidence that says that anything is wrong with using MSG in small and portioned quantities. The only rare instances of people getting headaches or feeling ill from the product was when they abused MSG and put way too much in the dishes. So it's safe to argue that maybe those instances where people were getting really bad headaches at Chinese restaurants were that they were abusing MSG, or they're actually allergic to something else. In fact, the great food wizard Harold McGee condones the use of MSG in his 2004 book on food and cooking, which is kind of like the holy grail of food books. Fun fact, almost every fast food restaurant in America has multiple dishes with glutamates added. It'll probably say free glutamates on the back label, or if you read the nutrition facts, which basically is MSG. So your chicken tater tots or whatever you're getting, MSG. No headaches, right? Now, just because monosodium glutamate isn't that bad for you does not mean that you have to add it to every single dish, or that you even need to cook with it at all. Tons of ingredients are already high in glutamates, and all ingredients have a certain amount of glutamates in them. So next time you're trying to make something and you want to up the umami, consider adding another umami-rich ingredient before reaching for the MSG. So that's a little bit about umami and also monosodium glutamate. Check out today's sponsor, Gogi, who is rich in umami but has 0 MSG in his beef jerky at artisansnacks.com, and I will see you tomorrow.